Welcome everybody to Transform 2025. It is Tuesday, it is day one. I'm thrilled to be back here at the Win. I'm thrilled to be here at Transform. And a big shout out to our friends at Greenhouse for bringing the podcast to you live for the next 2 days. We have a jam-packed lineup of incredible thought leaders, executives, speakers in the space of HR and TA tech. So let's get to it. Day one, everybody, let's go.
Welcome to the podcast, where we introduce you to incredible humans who share their journeys with the mission to inspire you to harness your own inner tenacity to drive your life and career forward. And now, your host, Adam Posner.
Welcome everybody to Transform Day One. First day, first guest, Mr. Brett Coyne. How you doing, man?
Good, what's happening? Thanks for having me.
Brett is a Chief Transformation Officer at Findem. Tell us what you guys do over there.
Yeah, so very interesting. I was a longtime practitioner, went vendor because of what Findem's doing. So at the highest level, AI first, talent acquisition, multi-channel sourcing, CRM, and analytics.
Interesting. So how is that different than what, if I look around here,
Yeah.
I mean, I could literally take my phone and throw it and hit a company that does something similar.
Yeah.
How are you guys different?
Yeah, I'd say they
I
think...
do want to throw my phone at a couple of companies here.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they think they're doing something similar. A lot of people are focused on sourcing, but what we uncovered about a decade ago at Intuit was biggest piece of data that people don't pay attention to is their source of hire data. People report on it, they don't do anything about it. So what we started doing there, and then when I went to Okta, really took it to the next level, is how do you create a proactive way to source in all those channels? So perfect example. What are recruiters always doing? Waiting for people to come to them.
We are
waiting. Right?
We're lead magnets, but we shouldn't be. We should be out there getting them, fishing.
Yeah, but we love the cold leads. Love them, right? We don't want the Glengarry leads, the warm leads, right? We want to find the people who are impossible to find. What we often don't know is we already have access to them. They're in our ATS. They've applied to a job. They know somebody at the company. So Findem's AI proactively tells you how to get to that person through a warm lead.
Interesting. And we need to hit the pause button here for a second, folks. The ATS platforms that most companies have are a gold mine of candidates.
That's right.
What? And I'm a practitioner. You were a practitioner. I'm a recruiter by trade.
Yeah.
Go back to the well, man. These are candidates that were interested. Well, let's talk about it first, guys. Little shop talk here.
Yeah.
When you have a role, 99% of the time you're making one hire.
That's right.
That means there's qualified candidates that make it through the process, but only one person can get hired. You have all these other candidates that were interested in your organization. They were pre-qualified up to a certain point of the interview process where you may not have to repeat that.
That's right. Yeah, I think
So why do so many companies go back to the well?
Because they can't
go back to the well.
Because they can't search their ATS.
Okay.
So that's been a problem forever. And as a leader, the challenge was I didn't want to spend money driving traffic on paid media to know that my recruiters would look at 20 candidates of the 600 applicants, disposition, everything goes into the ATS, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, now I got to go back and spend money on outbound sourcing tools. We ran an experiment at Intuit. We put a couple recruiters in a box for like 2 weeks and said,
you locked them in a room?
pretty much in a room.
That would make the best
Yes.
Melinda, reality TV show idea. We're going to lock recruiters in a room. Yeah.
Not allowed out, 24/7. And we said, track on a spreadsheet every candidate you find on another sourcing platform that we all know.
Right.
Cross-reference our ATS. We had 7 out of 10. Problem was we couldn't find them. Findem extracts all that, also takes their data and updates their profile to the latest and greatest. So if I apply 5 years ago, it'll pull in my newest stuff, match me to current jobs.
That is an important point.
Very important.
Because when you're looking at candidates, let's just say somebody applied for a manager role and now it's 3 or 4 years later, they're in a director role. So they may be a senior director level or maybe VP level. I'm just giving you an example here. But they may get overlooked because you're only looking at them from 4 or 5 years ago.
That's right. Or recruiters have to manually go look them up somewhere else.
Right. Cross-reference LinkedIn.
Yeah, how do you remove that manual work, AI, automation, automated workflows, boom. Click of a mouse, you have their latest. We used to do this on spreadsheets.
Google Docs, whatever. Yeah. So I told you we weren't going to talk about AI.
Yeah.
Fooled you. We're actually going to talk about AI for a second here. Let's nerd out for a second here. I don't want to, what is the AI specifically doing without giving away the trade secrets? Yeah. What is it looking for? How are the parameters set? What prompts are you putting in to find the right person calibrated at the right level?
Yeah, so the cool thing about Findem and why I went there, I never saw a company doing these things. Again, multi-channel sourcing, proactively help you, database, inbound, alumni, they used to work here. How do we know where they are, what they're doing now, invite them back, right? But the AI goes out, applies your search to over 100,000 public data sets and builds what we call a 3-dimensional profile. One dimension is a resume. 3D, a great example is, I'm an engineer, here's my resume. We'll take that and we'll cross-reference GitHub and we'll pull all of their code bases and put them together in a profile. So with one click, you can show the hiring manager immediately
Show them what they're doing, what
they're doing. Here's their code out there on the managers usually ask for that anyway, and they go manually chase it down. We put it all in one place, one click, done.
So what's interesting, and we're going to nerd out here, we're going to go deep on here. I find that when candidates, either if they're tech and using GitHub or if they're creative and using their own portfolio, they're not always able to show their latest or greatest work. They're not under NDAs or, for whatever reason, they can't share the work that they're working on. And I try to tell hiring managers, don't judge them exclusively on that. What are your thoughts? How can a candidate best represent themselves on the tech side?
Yeah, selfishly, I think the Findem profile is like the most amazing thing I've seen. So how can a tech person best represent themselves? I don't think I really understand where you're going with that.
Well, it's a tough one. So I think if you're on the job search as a tech candidate and you can't show, you can't show everything there, are there other ways that you could showcase what you're able to do? Like, are there ways that they could put, and anything interesting that you're seeing out there that tech candidates are doing?
Honestly, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing anything on the candidate side that people are doing that's so different than what they've done historically. I think where we are, though, again, the differentiator is if you have the right technology on the corporate or the agency side, you can extract the right data on a candidate that they're not going to put in their resume.
Got it.
Right? Yeah.
So let's talk about workflow a little bit and efficiency here. How have you seen from a metric standpoint, this has decreased time to hire and made recruiters more efficient?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of time to hire as a good key performance indicator because
so many X factors.
30 years, right? It's hovering around 60 days. You can move it down, but you're going to max out at a certain point. The reason I think time to hire is important is it's the biggest input to planning. So as a leader, if I know you need the role filled in Q3 and I look at time to fill on average plus notice periods in country, all I need to know is all I have to do is make sure the rec's open at the right point in time.
Well, I think how long the rec is open is, it's almost, they're similar. Yeah. Rec open, there's a lot of factors that I think have to first look at. Companies need to put the mirror in front of themselves first.
For sure.
Is it internal issues? Are you not having the right recruiters on it? Are they not trained on it? I could literally sit here for the next hour and name all the X factors there, but you need to have certain metrics. What's your favorite TA metric?
Source of hire data.
Break down the math. What does it look like?
Yeah, so most companies.
What's the formula look like?
Yeah, so source of hire, if you run a report at most companies, right, this is what we find across our entire customer base, and this was consistent anywhere I worked. 20 to 30% from referrals, 5% usually contractor conversions, bigger company, 5 to 10% university hiring conversions, 15, 20% inbound apps going through them, right? 5% searching your database, it's really hard. And then there's a culmination of things like to make up the other bucket, which is really hard to track. Paid media, job boards, right? The reason I like that is I want to be in control. Most recruiters are not in control. They're sitting back, waiting for everybody to come to them.
They're reactive.
They're reactive. And then what do? When they don't get what they want, they go proactively write Booleans all day and hope people respond to them, right? If you can give them a way to take all of those source of hires and say, we're going to set goals. We want to move referrals from 20 to 30, alumni from 2 to 10, so on and so forth. You build strategies in those channels. You can almost completely decrease your need for outbound sourcing, which is the most expensive tool set out there. Most time consuming. And we are about to release a new aggregate data set across all of our clients, which we do allow you to proactively source all these channels. We now for the first time have data that shows everybody's doing it wrong. External outbound sourcing is the last place you should be spending your time. Why? Response rates, responded interested, and conversion are by far the lowest of all the key channels.
You already have folks that are raising their hand that have been through the process. What? Yeah. Why is this so duh? Why is this like a dumb moment? Why are companies not utilizing it?
I'd say some people are. I think it's a dumb moment for, I'd say, 80% of the market. I think the key to unlocking that is you have to have a really good, I'll step back for 1 second. Stop running TA like TA. Start running TA like a sales and marketing business.
Yes.
Because what the sales team would do is they would make sure all those cultivated leads had a nurture strategy, right? Mm-hmm. So the underutilization of CRM and what CRM and marketing automation really means in TA is not fully prevalent in many of like our clients, I will tell you. Building highly strategic, intentional, diverse talent pools and actually having a multi-channel nurture strategy as a lever to complete that process of ready now, get them hired, ready later.
It's pipeline management.
Yeah, not a fit, get them in the pool, right? Nurture, they come back and become an actor.
Hey everyone, we'll jump right back into the conversation, but first let's talk about a game changer in hiring, Greenhouse. Greenhouse is a leading hiring platform that helps companies get measurably better at hiring. Because when it comes to building great teams, every hire should be the right hire. With Greenhouse, you don't just fill roles, you transform your hiring with a structured process that ensures fairness, removes bias, and enables data-driven decisions. AI-powered workflows in Greenhouse streamline every step from sourcing top talent to personalizing the candidate experience, allowing recruiters to focus on strategic, high-impact hiring that drives real business outcomes. The result? A faster, more efficient process that turns talent into a true competitive advantage. Over 7,500 companies, including HubSpot, Duolingo, Gong, JD Power, and Scout24, trust Greenhouse to optimize their hiring process and take candidates from talented prospects to top performers. And it's not just the best hiring platform, it's also a great place to work. Greenhouse has been recognized by Fortune, Inc. magazine, Glassdoor, Forbes, and more as a top workplace. Want to hire better, faster, and more fairly? Visit greenhouse.com today and get ready to hire for what's next. All right, back to the show. Well, let's talk about this for a little bit because I find this fascinating.
Me too.
You have I bet.
We did it at Okta. It was
You have a talent
mind-blowing.
pool here.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't apply for the job. Maybe there's a similar job, maybe not right now, maybe then. Is that all automated where as soon as that new rec goes into the system, Findem's tech lays over it or embedded within the platform and says, hey, Adam, we saw that you applied 2 years ago to this product manager role. We have a senior director role that you might be perfect for.
Yeah.
We'd love to see if you're interested. Is that all automated?
So that's not today.
Did I
That's
just invent
definitely
that?
that's definitely on the table. Like I would see that as more of a recommendation engine, right? So yeah, so we would love to automate that workflow because I agree with you. It's like, and look, when you tie it back to like candidate NPS, the thing, you wear the talent board, right, to do the candidate NPS. The biggest thing those guys taught us years ago was like offer, accept, and candidate experience go hand in hand. The almost, I don't remember, it's the top, second, or the third thing. All people want is they want to know what is my status, even if it's negative.
They just want
Get
to
back to
know.
them.
It is
Right.
it is an information.
That's right.
All right, bro, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Candidate experience, listen, last year when I was at Transform, all we talked about was AI. AI, EIEO.
Yeah.
And it was nauseating because I think half the companies had no clue what they were talking about. They were just slapping an AI sticker onto it. But now we're talking about candidate experience. When are companies going to realize how damn critical it is and the cost of a bad candidate experience?
Yeah.
I have seen, as I mentioned, in the trenches recruiter, you get a candidate to the finish line and they just say no. And you know why? Because they had a real shitty experience.
That's right.
And that represents you as a company.
That's right.
We could do better. Where do you see all those fail? Let's do a couple of fail points. A couple, not all of them.
Yeah, they can happen everywhere. I think the biggest fail point is in the application process because, again, there's not a lot of technology until now, I think, to really help sort through applications. And so it's really hard. I mean, I used to carry rec loads. You get 300, 400, 500, and now sometimes 1,000. I'm hearing 2,000 applications for some G&A jobs. You cannot go through them one at a time.
No.
People are going to get upset, right? So I think more and more companies have to adopt AI to help them with that productivity gain. Quickly know who's not a fit, get them a message, right?
Immediately message them. And again, it goes back to your
Immediately
point of
message.
information, which is candidate experience.
That's right. But once you get them into the process, I mean, I like to break down every single step and measure time in stage. So you have to mention time to
Time
fill.
and stage is important.
Time in stage is really
And you
important.
can see it when your pipeline is laid out.
That's right. And you can see where the biggest gaps are in your process. And where I found it usually is the interview scheduling experience, usually because hiring teams aren't available. So you have to go educate and coach your hiring teams how to create a great experience. And when we did at Okta, talk about impact, offer accept rate in technical roles when I got there was high 50%. We put a massive focus on candidate experience every step of the process, got that offer accept up to over 80%.
That's
so think
fantastic.
about how much work we didn't have to do for that conversion rate. And then we would reward hiring managers who created great experiences to reinforce the behavior.
what I like to say is sourcing, screening, and scheduling can now all be automated for most jobs, most lower to mid jobs. I'm also seeing great innovation in this space when it comes to mostly tech roles, where that initial interview, where you're taking their vital signs, when you're taking some initial intake, can be automated with different chat bots and even video bots too. And here's the best part. It can be done 24/7 on someone's schedule. Now you're decreasing that initial stage. So when the candidate comes to me as a recruiter, I'm able to have this one-on-one human conversation.
That's right.
I'm able to get to the crux of it. And decision makers, CFOs out there, there is a dollar sign attached to this.
That's right.
Some tools for hiring leadership to talk to their financial side. How do you best present the case?
Okay. There are two pieces in there. We're not in the scheduling business, but I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying in general. That's where I see great innovation in the automation.
No, me too. I think it's great. I think it's great for lower level, like higher level exec. You're not going to get them.
Exec search is still a high human touch.
That's right. Your question was around tools to take to. So if I'm a TA leader,
right? How do I champion this technology to? A lot of times, well, it's a much bigger conversation where companies don't equate people to being a profit center, right? But where they see us as a cost center, now we're just being a cost. Now Brett's just coming to me with another tool that they need.
So I would say, like, to step back, I think that's irresponsible of anyone to do that. So I think if you're going to ask for money, you better have a strategy. And I like to think of it as top, middle, bottom of the funnel. And what are the experiences you're trying to create through that process? And how are you going to make intelligent tech decisions to instrument a great experience? It's going to drive higher conversion. So when I step back and think about, like, what do I owe my CHRO? What do I owe the CFO? I owe them a really tight capacity model. Start there. What is the output I'm going to get from every recruiter by function, by geo around the world? And that's my baseline. And then the decisions I'm going to make and I'm going to present to them have to come with the expectation I have is by making this investment, I will over time be able to get more output. So I'll be asking you for fewer resources as we scale.
Yes.
And then you have to revisit that every, I'd say 6 to 12 months. Every quarter is not fair. You need 6 months for the throughput. But that's what I like to talk to some of our clients about is if you're not looking at your tech stack as a way to increase productivity, it's not fair for you to ask to spend on tools if you're not going to decrease your headcount. Right?
There has to be
a marriage of those two.
To that.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's talk leadership for a little bit. You've gotten to a point in your career where now you're mentoring, junior leaders up there.
Yeah.
Where do you see the biggest leadership gap right now? Is it training the folks on the up, that are coming up there? Where are you seeing this gap, and how are you working with your team to train them, especially focus in the TA space?
No, 100%. I think, look, this is not a knock on staffing agencies, but my experience has been probably not first-time agency, first-time job. I think looking back over 25 years, there's such a need in the agencies to quickly get people in, train them. The way they train and recognize and reward people is to find the candidate. That's how you get paid.
It's the end of the day, it's a product.
When you transition into the corporate world and you ask hiring managers, do you care who found the candidate? 100% of them will say no. So breaking that mindset, and that to me leads to low productivity because it's about me. It's not about you, it's about us. If we have to fill 50 sales roles and you fill 20 and everyone else fills one, we didn't hit the goal. How do we work together to hit the number, right? That's, I think, the most important thing. So I try to talk to them about this multi-channel ecosystem. How are you going to fill your funnel? You cannot mathematically do it with everybody just sourcing outbound candidates.
No.
You can't do it, right? Especially as you're scaling. So trying to teach them how to change that mindset from, I have to find a candidate, to let the ecosystem work for me and put proactive strategies like a chief revenue officer would not invest the most amount of their technology spend in an outbound lead generation tool that gets 10% response rates.
No way. They're going to throw you out.
They'd lose their job. But TA leaders do it all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
As a people leader in the people space, what's keeping you up at night these days?
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
As a people leader in the people space, what is keeping you up at night these days?
Change management. I think change management, it's an easy word to say, and people talk about it.
Unbuzz the buzzword, Brett.
So I'll unbuzz the buzzword. You have to be intentional. You have to understand what actually needs to happen. And one of the things that we did at Findem that I'm very proud of, our adoption was low when I got there. So change management, getting people to break that mindset. So we built a practitioner first post-sales organization. So of talent ops people, early career recruiters who then became CSMs who understand and can talk the talk. So when we show up and someone signs a deal, we say, listen, we're going to take you through this experience. Here's specifically where the change management challenges are with 90% of our customers. Here's what we're doing about it. And we've thought about the post-sales process practitioner first, because when I was buying and using tools, I was really never pleased with the experience. So we've rethought and re-instrumented that experience for clients. Adoption is an all-time high, logo retention all-time high. So I don't know how much time we have, but I think all practitioners should go work for vendors for 2 years. We will do a lot for the vendors, and we will learn so much about how to be a better
We
practitioner.
should do an externship within companies and get them over there. Well, Brett, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Let's leave everybody with your intention for the space. If you want to throw one intention out, where you want to see this whole industry go, a positive thought, where should we be moving this industry forward? What are we missing?
I feel like I need to drop a big one here.
Yeah, that's how we close big.
Yeah, I think every TA leader needs to think like a chief revenue officer. And if they take that mindset and they show up with finance and their leaders in their company, the trickle-down effect will be amazing, because you would organize, you would hire different people, you would buy different tech stacks to operate that way.
I love it.
We decide to do it our way. I don't know if it's the right way.
Yeah, and you got to test and learn. You keep experimenting, folks. Try things, champion your people, champion your products. Brett Cohen, thank you so much for being my first guest and joining me today.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Enjoyable. I love Greenhouse, by the way.
Shout out to Greenhouse.
Wisdom is forever, but for us, it's time to go. Thank you for joining us. Luckily, we'll be back with our next episode soon, jam-packed with more incredible humans. Thank you for listening, subscribing, and sharing. To join the conversation, search the Podcast on LinkedIn. And to catch up on past episodes and more info, please visit www.thepodcast.com.